How to stay productive while work from home. COVID-19 has led many companies to recommend that employees work from home. For many, remote work is a new reality and one that takes some getting used to. Below are a few tips for working remotely from Google's Primer team to help you make the most out of the situation. A version of this tutorial originally appeared in the free Primer app. Whether it's done by choice or by necessity, working from home has its benefits, like avoiding your daily commute. But it also means it's up to you to motivate yourself and get as much out of your time as you would in an office setting. To help, here are tips to keep yourself accountable, collaborative, and productive as you work from home. Establishing a designated workspace can help tell your brain you're in the place where you do work productively. 1. Create work triggers for your brain. When you work in an office, the daily routine of getting ready and commuting helps your brain get ready for the day. When you're working remotely, you can create, start the day, triggers that get your head ready for work in a similar way, like exercising, reading the news, or making coffee. A workspace may also be key. If you can sit down and be productive anywhere, that's great. If you need more structure, establishing a designated workspace, whether it's a separate room, a fully stocked desk, or just a clean part of your kitchen table, can help tell your brain you're in the place where you do work productively and without distraction. About distractions, they're one of the biggest challenges of working remotely. To keep your brain in the right mode, avoid doing non-work tasks during your work time. For example, schedule a separate time to do laundry instead of tackling it while you're finishing a work presentation. 2. Stay motivated with a list. A simple to-do list can do wonders for keeping you both organized, motivated, and productive as you work from home. As you create your list, think about big, long-term goals, like finishing a project, as well as small goals, like completing tasks that lead to the big goal. Checking off those smaller goals lets you know you're making progress, which gives you positive reinforcement throughout your day. And work feels much more doable when it's not all one giant task. Write or type out your list instead of just having it in your head. You won't have to devote headspace to constantly remembering what you have to do, and the pleasure of crossing tasks off your list can help you stay motivated. 3. Make a schedule for everything. Remote work requires a schedule much like a typical office job, except you're the only one holding yourself accountable. That doesn't mean your entire day has to be work only, it's actually important to take regular breaks to refresh yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, just that any non-work activities also need to be scheduled. When creating your schedule, take into account the other commitments in your life and find a routine that lets you take care of those as well. If you have a child, build their care into your schedule. If you play sports or volunteer, schedule time to get work done before or after these activities. Once you've set your schedule, make it visible to your coworkers with a shared calendar. This way, they'll know when you're free to meet and when you've blocked out work and personal times. It's also a good idea to make sure friends and family understand your schedule and respect it. Set boundaries and expectations by letting them know that working remotely doesn't mean you're free all the time. 4. Create a process for collaboration. Working from home might seem like a solo experience, but it usually still involves interacting with others, whether it's meeting with your team, getting assignments, making decisions, or giving and receiving feedback. So it's important to set up methods for collaboration while you work remotely. Talking face-to-face can help collaboration, so consider video conferencing for these moments. While email can be effective for making an official decision or passing on information, people's inboxes can get clogged up quickly. If you need to ask a quick question or send a fast update to your team, chat apps like Google Hangouts or Slack are a good alternative to email. Brainstorming or detailed discussions usually require an official meeting. Talking face-to-face can often help collaboration, so you might consider video conferencing for these moments. Video conferencing is also a great way of having regular check-ins with your team. This can help you stay abreast of what others are doing, and also help everyone keep up a rapport that might otherwise go neglected from not sharing a workplace. 5. Find the right spot. Try to find yourself a dedicated and comfortable spot to work that you can associate with your job and leave when you're off the clock. That means get off the couch, and definitely out of bed. It definitely helps if you have a dedicated space for working from home, says remote worker Matt Hahi, creator of the long-running community weblog Meta Filter, and writer for Slack. I started doing this kind of work sitting at a desk in the middle of my living room of a small San Francisco apartment 20 years ago, and it was a pain to stay on task and not get interrupted. Since then, Hahi has set up a dedicated home office where he can close the door and shut out distractions. He has also gone to local libraries to take advantage of their free Wi-Fi. But given that today's work-from-home recommendations are meant to prevent spreading COVID-19, heading out into a public place is likely counterproductive. 6. Find a coworkers. You might find it easier to be productive without your most chatty coworkers constantly buzzing in your ear. But social interactions, even with coworkers, can alleviate feelings of isolation and loneliness. Durham University's Dr. Thuy Vy Nguyen, who studies the effects of solitude, thinks the psychological effects of working remotely for extended periods is often overlooked or ignored, despite it being an essential factor in our mental well-being and team bonding. We're used to social interaction, she says. It facilitates cooperation and closeness. To help fill the socializing gap while working remotely, Nguyen recommends finding a colleague you can hit up when you're feeling the need to chat with someone. Alternatively, buddy up with a friend who works elsewhere and is going through the same experience. Hopping on a social video call instead of Slack or text isn't a bad idea, either. 7. Have a plan. Nguyen also recommends that, when working alone, you should keep a more structured daily schedule than usual. Usually our time and the structure of our day are influenced by other people, she says. You're going to experience your day as lacking the normal structures that you usually have. People might have a hard time dealing with it. So one of the things that we found in our trying to understand solitude, is that time spent alone is better if it's structured. For Hahi, his schedule includes multiple breaks throughout the day, either to play with his dog or take a long walk around the neighborhood and grab the day's mail. 8. Think about how you're collaborating. Hahi says it's important to go beyond email and use other digital tools that can better replicate the in-person office experience and provide for clear communication. There will be a sense of isolation, of course, and it depends on how well your team communicates, or how much they're willing to ramp up communication using other tools besides face-to-face conversations, he says. He communicates with his team using chat apps like Slack and video conferencing services like Zoom. Screen sharing is another killer aspect of getting people on the same page, he adds. If I'm in a meeting to give feedback, chances are the host is sharing their screen as well, so we're all looking at the same thing as we toss ideas around. These are some tips to make you still productive while work from home. Stay safe and stay productive. Last but not least, still happy.